Hey everybody, let me know down in the comments if you can hear us, and we'll get the connectivity checked out here. Just make sure everything's working before we get started. And apologies if there's any delay answering questions here, because we are on an internet connection from the car, the Bolt. So let's see how this goes. And, let us know who's here if you can. Stick your name, location, ID, whatever you want to pop in there down in the comments. I think we're good to go. So I'll let a few people join here because it's bang on 6 according to my clock. But welcome. This is the live stream I've been wanting to make for a little while now, but family and other commitments have kind of kept us busy on weekends, so it's been hard to find a place to do it. So this was the first weekend available. We've just got some nice weather come in after a hailstorm, so actually worked out quite well, but I was not sure this was going to happen a couple of hours ago. But seems to be all good so far. See a few people joining in. I'm on my laptop down here, so for a little while I will be kind of looking up and down. Apologies for any kind of delays, things I miss. But essentially this is to kind of show what vehicle we're coming from after the Bolt EV, what we're going to next, little context for anyone who doesn't watch the channel quite that often. We have a 2020 Chevrolet Bolt EV, that's what I'm in right now. Previously had a 2017 Bolt EV, that was a 3-year lease, went back in 2020. A little bit of an overlap with this one, got a really good deal, paid a lot less per month, and got another lease on the 2020 Bolt EV. Obviously we've had a few, let's see. Hey Tom, how's it going? Sorry, the comments are starting to come in now, so I'll try and answer them as I can. But yeah, so right now we're in a 2020 Bolt EV. That lease is up in about 8 or 9 months now, I think. And the decision was, what do we get next? You know, obviously we can leave it until the year, see what's available. But we also have reasons to have 2 cars at the moment, kind of activities starting up again, a lot more travel coming up this summer, people flying in to visit that we'd like to have a second car for. So a few different reasons to kind of, again, jump on early, get another EV in the driveway for, you know, more the road trip use. And that kind of brings us on to the you know, the tests we've been doing recently. We had a rental Volkswagen ID.4, which you may have seen some of the road trip footage, then a Tesla Model Y. Spent some time with other people's Ford Mustang Mach-E's. So shout out to Scott over in Syracuse, who let us have a good poke around his Blue Max. And we've had a few test drives, extended test drives in the Mach-E, as well as having a Model 3, Tesla Model 3 in the extended family here. So we have pretty good, you know, balance of that. We are able to see the pros and cons of Tesla, see what we like about it, what we don't, and, you know, get a chance to test that are coming on the market. So our criteria for this were, let's see you in an IONIQ 5. Okay, well that's interesting. We'll not keep it too late here, but that makes some sense. Yeah, obviously some of the criteria, I'll take a step back, that we've had for our next EV were larger as the family grows. So we are kind of looking for something with more storage space, bigger, you know, kind of a larger SUV or mid-size SUV, I guess, crossover kind of shape. Instead of the Bolt EV's smaller hatchback. Now this thing does actually swallow a lot. We've done some IKEA runs in this and crammed it to the gills with bedroom stuff. So it's worked for us very well, and it does, you know, once the seats are down, it has a lot more storage space than you might think for a car this size. But obviously we're traveling as a family of 4. We're quite often fill up with people in all the seats, so we only have the back space, and just looking for something a bit larger. With the road trips that we do, you'll see a bunch of those all over the channel. Those we're looking at, you know, faster charging, possibly greater range. That's always been something that, you know, the kind of balance between going further but also charging faster, and where do you draw the line and prioritize those. And then something that's equally as quick, actually. Just to kind of, one of the things I love about the Bolt, and a lot of people, a lot of owners really like, is it's so nippy. Really does kind of take off. It's not Tesla speeds. It's not, going to blow you back in the seat, but it's plenty enough to get around city driving. Really good kind of, you know, pep to get onto interstates, but also to zip into spots around. We're in Greater Boston here, so there's a lot of suburban driving, but also when we head into the city, it's very kind of close. It's one of those old cities that has very limited space, so you really want something that's able to nip into spaces and make the most of that. So yeah, it's a few people now are up to 14. Just let us know where you are or what you're driving as either EV, non-EV, doesn't really matter. Just give us some context down there in the comments. You can also give this video a thumbs up. That helps YouTube let it know it's online and tells people what's going on. So that's the criteria for what we've had, where we've been, and where we're going. Now, some of these things have changed a little bit over the kind of last few years. We've thought about whether we really need a much greater range. You obviously see the likes of the really kind of luxury manufacturers, your Lucids and your Rivians now, and Tesla with the Model S going up to that 400, 500 range. Still not there yet for most of the other options that we're talking about. We're still in that kind of 300-mile mark, being the kind of level that mostly we can access at that $40,000 to $50,000 kind of price point. So that's fine, no issues there. But that's kind of offset with some of the jumps that we've had in charging in the last year or so, really, with the Mustang Mach-E and the ID.4 kind of pushing into the 125 kilowatt, 150 kilowatt range of power, and that's 3 times as much as the Bolt can do in the Mach-E's case. So you're really looking at an order of magnitude bigger then, and obviously then you get into your Kia Hyundai models that we've talked about, which are just lightning quick, even up to Tesla speeds and quicker if you take the kind of optimal charging situation. So there's a bunch here, and there's a lot of choice on the market now, even more coming with stuff like the long delayed Nissan Ariya, which should eventually get here this year. You've got Toyota kind of getting into the mix, Subaru now, albeit with EVs that seem to have kind of slightly dated range and tech a little bit, but they are on the horizon, and there's some things that they may serve for us as well. So that's where we are. Let me read some of the comments here. We've got a lot of bolts here, naturally, that makes sense. A couple of 2020 bolts. Dvarapala, hi, how are you? Tom, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Jen, I seem to know you. You're in a 2020 Bolt. Very good, very good. Might be this 2020 Bolt. How much have you been paying for your lease, and how much do you want to pay? So this lease is kind of it was half the price of our 2017 lease. We're on around $150, $160 a month. The down payment was covered by incentives that Massachusetts as a state gives you back. So our out of pocket for this car is just going to be really baseline, dirt cheap. So essentially we've been saving money for the next EV for the last 2.5 years now. So we're very, what we're in right now doesn't necessarily push on to what we're going to get next, or what we'll show you in a little bit here. So we could, Tesla Model Y is obviously very, into its expensive phase right now, but if you ordered at certain points, you can lock in those prices. So even that wouldn't have been a huge stretch. So that's on the cards. You've got your the other end, the Volkswagen ID.4 being a probably the best value EV in terms of being able to get that kind of low $40,000 price point if you're in the rear-wheel drive model, and then jump into 3 years of free charging with Electrify America. So that, as a value play, I think we've kind of made that clear in the videos and the reviews. That's probably the most practical and most affordable EV that you can get into with the kind of things that we're looking to achieve with it. Let me see any of the other comments here. New battery, we've got some comments. Yeah, if you've got battery stuff with your bolts, let us know down in the comments as well. I think mostly the 2017s to 2019s have been done so far, but 2020 is next up, hopefully, fingers crossed. We're still on the old pack in this one, as most people know, but just in case, to get that out there. Spartanburg, South Carolina, London Broiler, the original Bolt Across America. Nice one. Thanks for joining. Let's see what else we got. 2012 Nissan Leaf. Hey Mark, Columbus. Good to see you on the stream. And yeah, we've got a few Leafs in there, a few Bolts. So very, kind of sturdy, stalwart TVs really. And that's, before we go on to the next car, it's really worth reiterating that the only reason we really are coming out of a Bolt is because of the size more than anything else, and also the DC fast charge speeds. I think those are the kind of things. The size is what it is. That's the class of car. DC fast charge, for some people that's going to be important. It slows down your road trips, obviously. It's there are many more options that are charging 3, 5, 6 times faster right now. So you have that. But if it's either a second car, as we're going to end up maintaining it as here for a little while, or even just something regional, your 300, 400 mile road trips, doesn't make a difference. This is a really solid road trip car for that kind of scenario. And you can go up, pretty decent distances if you're patient, if you like stops that are gonna take you over a meal, take you on a walk, stretch your legs, that kind of thing. It's actually quite a relaxing car to road trip in. But if you do need to have the option of those quick stops over 20, 30 minutes, not the car to take on a longer trip. Happy to see the 22 Bolts in production. Yep, this week the 2022s started up production again. Hopefully those packs are coming along fast enough now that we can get them into 2022s. Chevy started to advertise the newer models and get those up. So it's pretty exciting to see those coming back out and Chevrolet having a push for them, as well as, the packs continuing to be replaced in some of the older cars. Let's see. What else? Battery's doing good. Glad to see. Oh, we got a Nero EV in there. Thank you very much. Good to see those. Is that the redesigned one? That's the 2023, isn't it? That has the refreshed look. So you probably have the refreshed logo, I would guess. So EV6 was one of our contenders. Very, very new to the market. Haven't put much up on the channel because it's been very kind of, just in the last couple of months released. But that's been something that we've been, thinking about, looking at, along with the IONIQ 5, Mach-E, ID.4, and the Tesla Model Y. Okay, so I won't linger too long here. I think people mostly want to see what we've got. So we are at a Tesla supercharger here. So I don't know if that is going to give you any indication. There's a car right behind me. We can have a quick look. I'm going to leave the laptop in the car here, get out, have a bit of a wander. Hopefully the connection holds up. If not, I will have to switch back to the cellular connection. So this is a supercharger in Woburn, Massachusetts. V3 that was just put in. It's a pretty nice site. Got a car there in the background, don't know what that's doing. And then you're on a Target in the background here, Starbucks just behind us. That's pretty fun. Let me jump back in the car quickly. The reason for that, so we had a poll go up, and the cars that were most kind of highly placed, people thought the Volkswagen ID.4 was going to be one for us. That was pretty high up, so I wasn't too surprised about that. We've covered it a lot and said some nice things about it. The Hyundai IONIQ 5 was on the list as well. Obviously that actually came top. Surprisingly, the Kia EV6 was lowered down, so I guess people may be thinking practicality, a bit more space. The EV6 is kind of reputed to be a bit more of a driver's car, whereas the IONIQ 5 is kind of roomier, a little bit more of a softer ride perhaps, and more focused on comfort, so that could be with a family of 4 consideration. Surprisingly, the Ford Mustang Mach-E was pretty low. That placed last, I think. It was just a little bit behind the Tesla Model Y, so not too many people thought we were going to be in a Tesla. Mustang Mach-E, although we haven't covered it too much recently, was probably pretty high on my list, to be honest. As a, selfishly as the driver, that was kind of there and what I was wanting, this time last year, although obviously things move quickly in the EV space. So let me see if I can move over there a little bit. So that's the poll. Most people thought IONIQ 5 or Volkswagen ID.4. Kia EV6 kind of bringing up the middle, that was around 20%, and then pretty low on the Mustang Mach-E and the Model Y. So I do have a Model Y in the back here, but that is deceptive, just to be a bit cheeky. So we have the Model Y there, that's somebody else's, I have to tell you. So not going to wait anymore, sure I'm not going to get run over. This is what we're going with. So this is us. Hopefully the connection holds up here. Give me a thumbs up if you can still see us. The Bolt is providing the connectivity here, so I'm hoping this stays on. Yeah, so Hyundai IONIQ 5. We couldn't overlook the retro futuristic chic. It was top of the list. Everybody guessed it pretty well, I think. 30%. So almost a third of the people who voted. So this is what we'd be in. And yeah, as the kind of things that I was pointing at just now, the space, you know, it's a really wide open, spacious cabin. I've been lusting after a panoramic roof for ages. My dad has one in the UK on a completely different car, but it's something we've been kind of wanting for a while. That could have come in the Tesla just as easily, in the ID.4, in the Mach-E, so it's not really specific to this car, but it is what we, wanted. One of the things on our list. This is an all-wheel drive version, the limited trim. I'm going to do a video on why we went with that and whether or not it actually pans out being the right choice. There were some vagaries as to what you can get on the SEL all-wheel drive. A lot of the stuff that, you know, the reason you get into this car is actually on most of the trim levels. The fast charging, the looks, the range are all very similar on the rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive at all trim levels. So on this one, you're getting, don't know if you can see down there, right here we've got the V2L in the rear. So there is an outlet just down there. The only one that comes with the Vision roof is the limited trim. So that being something that I wanted to get into, we kind of had to go up to this level to get it. Trying to remember what else we have. This thing, which moves back and forth. I'm not entirely sure whether that will be a deal breaker for many people, but you know, it was one of those things that they advertised in the merchandising and the kind of promotional materials for Hyundai. So, you know, that was kind of gives us a bit more modular space, and that kind of speaks to the reason we went with this after a lot of the kind of mulling over. It's going to be a road trip vehicle for 4 people, so back there, and dogs and cats sometimes. So we're going to have the kids needing more space in the rear, bunch of different choices, and you know, this is kind of why we went with this. Just a little more kind of family oriented, bit more spacious, bit more focused on modular storage, that kind of thing. The back seats there can move back and forth. There'll be a bunch of videos on this coming out, you know, as to the different features and what we can get at this level. Thank you very much, everybody, for the congratulations. Appreciate it. I'm very happy so far, and I'm not on my laptop right now, so I have to pour at the screen, I'm afraid. Yeah, I saw Tom's video on the charging curve. That was a really good one. I wish I'd got in there first, but you know, we are a small channel with limited resources, so it was good to see him. The Tesla that I was using to fool everybody just left, so just confirmation that is not mine. Yeah, so actually after this video, I'm gonna put live the first 10 to 80% charge we did in this car. That was a couple of weeks ago now, and in pretty decent conditions. This being Massachusetts, this is changeable weather. Every 5 minutes, it's like, you know, it'll be below freezing one day and then up into 60, 70 degrees the next day. So this next one is in good conditions, and then we did one last week that was in below freezing. So you'll be able to kind of compare and contrast the good and the bad of the charging on this car. I wonder, everyone let me know what you want to see. I can see the comments flooding in. I can't really answer them by typing because I don't have my laptop right here, but let me know. We can have a walk around the car quickly. Let me just flip it around. So as I say, It was the limited trim. You can usually tell that by the wheels here. It has these kind of sandworm turbine wheels there. Digital teal, which is a weird color that looks very different depending on whether it's sunny or gross. Obviously there's our bolt in the background. What else have we got here that I can do? Don't know if it's going to be a good one to open this up, because it will be on this. Let me do. So it's already started to be used for kids' accoutrements here. So we've got a few things. This is more just laid out in a practical way at the moment to keep things from rolling around, but you have this false floor which will come away. This is a little bit of a bummer that the I think this is the subwoofer, kind of eats into the space as it does with some of the Nissan Leafs. So I've seen that before. It's just, it is what it is. You've got a bit of lower space down there, but essentially this is just probably double the size of the Bolt in terms of practical usable space. We did not get the DC to AC connector. No, the V2L hasn't come with any of these. We got a standard granny cable trickle charge. My wife is in the comments here answering questions, so appreciate that. Thank you very much. Jen down there. So yeah, there's a ton of space in there. It's going to be, these move forward and backwards. The rear seats also recline, 60-40 split, so if we're looking for more space back here, we can shove them forward a little bit and give a bit less space in the cabin, or we can bring them all the way back, have more of a kind of reclined, leisurely rear area there. Let me see. Let's have the presenting handles. Oh, I've just locked it. So some of the power seats were on the limited trim. I'll have to go through what was not on the SEL that we went for up here. That'll be a different video. I've always been a fan. I don't know if I have a flat floor. This is something the Bolt has a little bit, but which has, you know, there's just tons of full bring across here. We've already done that a couple of times to move from the passenger seat here and just shift across into the driver's seat when we're clogged in a parking spot. So that's something that has been handy already. What else we got? Tons of space back here. So that seat is adjusted for me. At the moment, these are all the way back. Let's see here. So in the front here, that's adjusted for my wife, I think. Just got a lot of kind of relaxation room right there. Pretty Spartan rear area. There's not a whole lot going on here. Just a couple of USBs down here. Your little nets. So not a ton, but the materials are really nice. You know, you've got a white interior. We'll see how that holds up to the kids. But so far it's been good. You have the little hooks here. See if I can do it one-handed. So you have a little more shade. This thing does actually come back and forward. You've got, as you have in the ID.4, a canopy that'll come across and give you a little more on a sunny day shelter. And yeah, we've been very happy so far. Obviously a full review will be coming, but I'm going to run back to the Bolt and see if I can answer any questions that we've got. Oh, just a quick look at the Pixel. This is a theme that obviously runs throughout it. We've got the pixels on the charge port, pixels on the rear design, and the lights, pixels on the door handles here. And then all around the front as well. So very happy so far. It's one that turns heads and gets you into conversations, which wasn't necessarily what I was looking for, but the design is worth dealing with that, I think. Let's jump back to the Bolt here. just to answer a few questions and finish up the stream. So as my wife said, we have purchased this. Well, this one is a lease, but we have purchased this one. So that will be, for the foreseeable future, our road trip EV. Let me flick around. Okay. And yeah, so we have we'll have road trips coming up with that. We have a trip to Ohio this month, and we'll be over there. So give us a shout if you're in the area. You can grab coffee if I have a few minutes to do so. So you'll start to get a feel for the usual routes we've done. We've had quite a few road trips in the Bolt over to Ohio and back, so it's quite a familiar route. One that's changed a lot in the last year or two. There's way more charging. It went from nothing in Syracuse to having 4 or 5 options fast charging now. So there's it's going to be a change route for us, but it's going to be exciting to see how this journey's in the Bolt, which we've tended to do a leisurely crawl across and maybe stay overnight sometimes. For the first one in this guy, we're going to just go all the way through. So we'll start early in the morning in Boston, jump across Massachusetts, all across upstate New York, and then down into Pennsylvania and Ohio. So pretty excited to see how it goes with that. And let me jump into the comments here. Thank you very much, Brad. Appreciate it. Why not the EV6? Oh, that's Jen. Yeah. So the EV6 would have been a really good choice, I think. Everything points to it being a more driver focus. So you certainly have that in the design. It's not a flat driver and infotainment cluster. You have it kind of curved towards the driver, which always says to me, it's something that's focusing on the driver's experience, which is nice. That's in the area as well. I think there's something to be said for that. But also larger kind of center console coming across, so a bit less open space down below in the EV6 from what I can tell. It's obviously longer range, so that's something going in its favor. The design is completely up to individual, preference. I think they both look good. I have a slight preference for the IONIQ 5, obviously, but they're very close, and I think they're both very distinctive looking cars. I don't think the range is going to actually pad out to be a lot different in real world testing. I think it'll be a little more. That being the all-wheel drive, it's at 256, I believe, and I think the EV6 was 270, 275. Range only really matters to me when we're road tripping, because that's when it's you want to get the most out of every stint around town. Makes very little difference because we're topping up all over the place, whether at home or in local areas, so it doesn't really make a difference. And we want the range to be comparable to the Bolt EV. This one being 2020 has the 259 miles, as a lot of older Bolts are getting with the new pack now. But essentially that's going to be very similar to that one. We'll probably get stints of around 200 miles, maybe 220 under our belt for the first leg, from 100% to whatever we're comfortable with going down to. But then you start to see the difference kick in, as you'll see in the video that I'll release after this one. That's going to charge probably 3 times faster in its best conditions than the Bolt EV right now. If we're stopping for a meal, makes no difference. Really don't care. It can take an hour and we're still going to be the car will be done before we are. But in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever however far you go, on the 3rd, 4th, or 5th charging stop, that's where you really want it to be, the car to be done before you are. So that kind of 15-20 minute stop will really come into its own at that point. Let me see if there's any more comments. I appreciate the Model Y, everyone tuning in. Thank you very much. The Model Y comment was good. I didn't expect anyone to really believe we were going with one, but it was worth a bit of a throw off, I thought. Let's see. Yes, the dark green interior. It's light. That threw me for a while. It was I was looking at it saying I don't think we've necessarily got the interior that we wanted, because we did want the light kind of airy feel, but when you look at it, it does have that kind of hue that's a little bit of a dark green feel to it. So yeah, Shane, did that answer everything on the IONIQ 5 versus EV6? I'm going to do a full video on this when we get to spend more time with the EV6 to kind of go through the pros and cons of each, but if you have any more questions on that, let us know. Like Ohio, absolutely. It's we usually get the weather from Ohio, so our in-laws tell us exactly what's coming across, and a day or two later, that's what we get. Yep, purchased it. Exterior door handles connected to the opening mechanism with a physical linkage. It's electronic, I believe. I'll dig into that and let you know. I've got a lot to play with on this car, so there's there's a lot of stuff to do. Yes, the all-wheel drive has the heat pump and the battery heater, so that's part of the video, not the next one, but the charge session will do. We can see the battery heater going to work to try and warm up the pack in fast charging sessions. Glad you didn't get the matte paint. Yeah, it looks damn good though. There's some owners are already out there posting YouTube videos, and it's worth going to look at their videos because there's some good stuff out there already. But the matte looks amazing, and then some people have said it's not as hard to maintain as others think, but it's something that caused pause for thought. I mean, when the dealership said that it was going to be extra work, we were just like, there's already a lot of work in owning these, keeping things clean and having a new car, so we were more likely to go with this one. We had lucid blue as another option, but this one kind of looks blue sometimes. It's a kind of deceptive color, so that was the one that we went with in the end. What else we get? Charge port door is huge. Yeah, I think there's possibly the EV6 charge port door is in a better place. I'd have to look again, but it seemed like, I mean, the only thing with that, it seemed to open into an awkward direction with it opening up on the IONIQ 5. It's a little more kind of in line with the car. The EV6 seems to open up into a place where it could be pranged off, but it looks pretty good. Dark green today. Okay. So yeah, that is where we're at. I think the next video is really short, so that's something you can maybe jump into after this. Don't want to keep anybody too long. If there's any more questions, definitely throw them down in the comments. There'll be a ton of videos on this, obviously, with the fast charging sessions we've already done. The road trip coming up, I'll try and get that up as soon as possible. We'll try and do some range tests. What's interesting to me is this being 256 miles and the Bolt being 259 miles EPA range. They're both very close to each other. They have that kind of different vehicles. This one's much lighter, this is much smaller, but that one has a lot of weight in it, a lot of power going to the all-wheel drive. So we'll probably try range tests that are at the same time as we did with the 2017 and the 2020 Bolt, try and see what that works out to in local use, in highway conditions, that kind of thing. And obviously the charging tests, but that's going to be, if that doesn't smoke this one, then we have a problem. Let's see. Awesome. Thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate it. Let us know how it handles the snow. Yeah, the snow we just missed it. We took this in kind of the middle part of March, so I have had time to do cold weather stuff. We haven't had any significant snow, so it's that's going to be another probably 9 months before we really get to test that. But it's all-wheel drive, as we had always wanted to get something in the all-wheel drive, and it's solid enough. It has a winter mode. I think a lot of the driving from people who've already had it in snow seems to be pretty positive, so I'm looking forward to testing that. But I'd like to get spring and summer road trips under our belt first. That seems to be the more kind of pleasant, optimal conditions for charging this thing. Let's see. Yeah, summer's not. Summer is some days it feels like summer here, other days we have freezing hailstorms, as we heard earlier, so you just got to wait that one out, I'm afraid. Okay, awesome. So I don't think there's too many more questions. I'm going to do a ton of content on this, obviously, comparing these two cars, looking at the other options we had, that I talked about earlier in this video. But thank you everybody for joining us for this one. We're very happy, excited to take the channel in a more current EV direction and be able to test the latest infrastructure. One of the things with this car is it keeps us on CCS, it keeps us in the flow of testing new stations, staying with Electrify America, tracking their progress, seeing if EVgo catches up with its newer installs with GM, and doing more with higher speed charging, and things that the Bolt we could never really test. It was never going to get up to that high speed charging. This gives us pretty much future-proof for everything that's coming. It doesn't get up to that full 350 kilowatts that Electrify America says it can deliver, but it's pretty close to pushing everything that is out there right now, at least, and certainly will be for the few years ahead here. So excited. Thanks for joining the live stream. Watch for that video dropping in a few minutes here once I push it live. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Have a good weekend, everybody. Cheers.